So what did Jon Stewart do? Jon Stewart is urging President Trump's critics not to reflexively call every move he makes fascist, saying it clouds the ability to warn about actual authoritarian actions. I don't know, man. It's pretty straightforward now. Like, we're not... This isn't like 2015, he's coming down the escalator, he's making jokes about running for 5 terms or whatever. Yeah, past a point, like, the spade is a spade. We know what he represents. It's not ambiguous, you know? So this is the cycle we find ourselves in. First law of Trump dynamics. Every action is met with a not very equal overreaction. Is that really appropriate when he's been, like, machine gunning out these insane executive orders? Government freeze, ban transgender, ban trans youth care, mass firing of federal workers, bring everyone back in the office, subject them to loyalty tests, ICE, massive crackdown, arrest quota, deportation quota, military down to the border, the planes being sent out to Latin American countries, tariffs on Mexico, tariffs on Canada. I don't know. This is pretty dumb. I'm sorry. Like, this isn't just like Donald Trump is the loud, abrasive one, but the adults in the room are, like, you know, keeping things under control. It's pretty obvious where we are. After Jon Stewart said this on Monday, after playing clips of top Democrats criticizing Trump's decision last week to fire independent inspectors general. Is that really an overreaction from the Democrats? Democrats are weak as hell. The Democrats are overreacting? I wish the Democrats would overreact. Fire independent inspectors general? That was pretty bad. I don't know. The idea that the Democratic Party, that the DNC is, like, overstepping in how aggressively they're pushing back against Trump is insane. This article is a misrepresentation. Well, I can't watch the damn segment. Yeah, at this point, I feel like it's basically impossible to overreact. I feel like with how things are right now, basically any reaction will either be correctly loud or not loud enough. If I recall correctly, his basic point was that nothing Trump has done has technically been outside the bounds of presidential authority. Okay, for one, that's literally not true. He's been overstepping with these EOs, which is why they've been met with a bunch of legal backlash. And for two, that's a stupid argument. The authority of the presidency is, in many cases, very broad and ill-defined. Are you saying that if something's legal, it's not fascistic? The Holocaust was legal, because the Nazis did the Holocaust, and they also wrote the laws. Well, what kind of argument is that? That's pretty stupid. Then again, Jon Stewart did lead that idiotic march to return to sanity, or whatever it was. I've always had a weird feeling about him. I like the guy, don't get me wrong, but there's something inside the political instinct with this man that doesn't register right. He was talking about people calling the Jan 6 pardons fascist. That's fascist. They were literal insurrectionist, violent mobs that attacked the Capitol building at the behest of the president. They had weapons on them. It was very unambiguous what they were, and he went and he pardoned all of them, even the ones that were attacking cops, even the ones directly convicted of violent offenses. Not just like, oh, they climbed a fence, not just they walked into the building after. And by the way, those are still offenses. He pardoned people who assaulted cops. Why? A sign to the brown shirts. You can get away with whatever you want. He even pardoned one who had child sexual abuse material, was later prosecuted for. Apparently 2 of them. After playing a clip of Representative Jim McGovern decrying Trump's mass pardons for rioters charged in connection with January 6 as sick and un-American, Rachel Maddow called the move from a textbook authoritarian takeover 101 playbook. Stewart said, should you have let some of those terrible people out? No. Is it an abuse of pardon power? I don't know. It is an abuse of... What do you mean you don't know? Of course. Mass pardon of 1,500 insurrectionists and violent mobsters carrying weapons in the Capitol building with the intention to kidnap and kill... Is this what dark woke looks like? What's happening here? But that's his constitutional power? Who the cares if it's his... That doesn't determine whether something's fascistic or not. Thanks to qualified immunity, cops do stuff that is terrible all the time, but it's within, like, their legal purview. Like, that doesn't free you from having to criticize them if the thing they're doing is bad. So just anything within the law? Stewart tries way too hard to be a centrist sometimes. It's not like I don't criticize the Democrats constantly. Your problem is that the Democrats are being too loud and hysterical in their pushback to Trump. What the f are you talking about? We're facing a deluge of these executive actions, and certainly we must be prepared for the most vulnerable to the consequences of these actions. Da, da, da. But the "this is all fascist" argument has become almost a reflex for the left. I mean, it's pretty easy when your opponents are fascists. I have a lot of fear that as this term goes on, things are going to get a little fascisty, and we must be vigilant, but part of vigilance is discernment. Dude, I'm sorry, we're past that point, man. It's literal, like, blood and soil, glorious military, purify the blood of the nation shit out there. It's pretty straightforward. This just, to me, this seems like reflexive contrarianism. I don't know what else. I don't know what else you could be. I don't know what else you get from that. We might be doing a little teensy-deensy little dip into fascism in the future. Man, we're there. What do you want? This is fascist enabling. It is. There were people who were acting like this in the 1930s, too. They were like, oh, Hitler will be moderated by his cabinet. Oh, Hitler, talks a big game, but the responsibilities of statehood will weigh down upon him. Leadership will compel seriousness. We must not be, hysterical and so on and so forth, Yeah, it's just being in denial. He's a collaborator. He's not a collaborator. Come on. He's being a reflexive contrarian is the feeling that I'm getting from this. As a counterexample, he pointed to Trump's executive action attempting to curtail birthright citizenship, a move that goes against the 14th Amendment. But he points out that a federal judge promptly froze that order, indicating the government's checks and balances are still in place. Man, I love to, like, have an avalanche of snow roll down a hill, and I quickly grab, like, a board of wood and hold it over my head, and as the snow is piling up over me and my arms start to shake, I'm like, see? There are multiple forces at play here. The avalanche seeks to bury me and kill me, yes, but we also have the glorious plank that protects me and keeps me dry, allows me to breathe. Like, I don't know, man. It's the Anna Kasparian argument. Well, did he succeed in the fascist move? Then he's not fascist. True, because if the judge that stopped his 14th Amendment violating birthright citizenship executive order gets challenged by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court finds actually it's totally fine to invalidate the 14th Amendment via executive order, haha, then will Jon Stewart be like, well, that's legal? Technically, it is the right and responsibility of the Supreme Court to, through jurisprudence, interpret the Constitution and law, and that's not a violation of the president's authority. Everything's according to a law here. Like, what the Republicans control the House, the Senate, the executive, and the judiciary, and just about every move that's been made until this point, we have granted them electorally. It's our fault. Okay, I love hating on Democrats, don't get me wrong, but there is another thing that has to be considered here, and I try to be responsible when I balance this, and it's that it's the capital class, man. Like, the Democrats are the weaker end of the supporting wing of the capital class. The capital class is consolidated behind the other wing, yes. But it's not just the Democrats' political failure. They lost marginally if you go by popular vote. They lost overwhelmingly if you go by oligarchical support. And that shit matters a lot. You need to balance these, okay? Look, again, I hate the Democrats. You all know that. I spend, like, every stream talking about them with my teeth gritted. It's sincere, I promise you, okay? But if your analysis from this is just like, well, the Democrats it up, they gave it up, that's not the full story. The full story is that the Democrats suck, they're incompetent, they're ideologically neutered, they're dickless, but the better trends of the Democratic Party run contrary to the interests of the most powerful people in the world. And those are the ones who decided that Trump would win. If those oligarchs, all the social media, everything, all those independent media types, Joe Rogan, whatever, if they were as bought by the Democrats as they have been by the Republicans, if everything else was the same except their supports lied on the other side, Democrats would have won by a 20-point margin. And I'm not joking. If social media, imagine if Twitter had gotten bought out by like a hardline partisan Bernie supporter back in 2022, and Zuckerberg, at Meta, all these social media companies, hardline leftists and willing to kowtow, they started tapering their algorithms to favor left-leaning news stories. The news media, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, all of them, hardcore, partisan, pro-left rhetoric. all the time. They don't talk about stuff that makes the Democrats seem bad. They only talk about stuff that makes the Republicans seem bad. Their message consistency is on point. The Democrats would have won 60-40 at a minimum. Now, the only way to get that kind of support of the oligarchs would have been to have been the kind of people the Republicans are. So that was never on the table. And that's the difficulty here. The Democrats can be one of two things. They can be the better party, or they can be the party that wins the support of the oligarchs. They kind of can't be both, because winning the support of the oligarchs means being worse people. It means kowtowing more to capital. That's how you get their support. At least now. I'm simplifying a bit. A lot. But that's the gist of it. You can overcome this dynamic with a popular mandate. Bernie Sanders could have done that. Anyway, the constant drumbeat of encroaching fascism will erode the credibility we will need if, hopefully if, not when, it hits, he said. Yeah, man. If you stop calling Trump's fascist executive orders fascist, then maybe Republicans will listen to you when you call the next set of fascist executive orders fascist. That's true. The truth for now is Trump's most objectionable actions have taken place almost entirely within our designated democratic system. That's not even true, but even if it was, this is literally like Holocaust was legal tier argumentation. Why? Why is he saying this? I genuinely don't get it. I don't understand. It's just whatever. It's reflexive contrarianism. I don't know. I don't know. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. I don't think he's stupid, and I don't think he's bought either. But surely he's been paid off. No. He's done this before. He did this with the March to Restore Sanity thing. I'll tell you this, okay? Whatever benefits there are to him, you know, whatever like virtues there are, and there are many virtues to him, he is one thing, incredibly arrogant. Now, I say this as somebody who is himself, I've been known to have a bit of a, you know, people tell me I'm full of myself, and I say, sue me. I can see it in him. He's got a very high opinion of himself. However much he might play that down, he does. And that's the reason why in 2010, after 2 years of Obama, he staged a big political rally with Stephen Colbert, which was about the March to Restore Sanity. Now, you have to understand, in 2010, Obama, again, I don't like Obama, but Obama was more or less playing fair ball with legislation. Republicans were obfuscating. Republicans were lying. Republicans were doing everything they could to prevent the Affordable Care Act from taking shape. The Republicans were openly, willfully obstructionist. It seemed like every day in 2010, we were hearing another scandal where a Republican legislator, federal or state, did or said something really racist about Obama. You know, like posting a cartoon of him with a watermelon or shit like that. It was all over the place all the time. And in that political environment, Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert, mostly Jon Stewart, held a massive rally in DC, which was about enlightened centrism. Let's all calm down. Let's all dial it back. Let's all come together. See, look how like witty they are. Rally to restore sanity and or fear. Get it? Because they're like Hollywood media guys, you know? Well, they work out of New York, so they're not Hollywood guys, but you know what I mean. Restoring sanity. And it was like a back and forth thing, you know, like, oh, haha, aren't we all crazy? 2010? Well, then I'll tell you what, after the midterm election in 2010, after this rally, Republicans took Congress back, or half of Congress back. So, you know, I think that Jon Stewart is a smart guy with good political instincts. I also think that he's very arrogant and that he's reflexively contrarian because of it. That's it. Keep in mind, like 2010, this was after the 2008 financial crisis. I mean, there was a lot going on. People were very upset. They were looking for retribution against Wall Street. They were looking for like help and handouts and stuff. And again, like he was not signs from the rally. This is so 2010. If you were there, you know, okay? Signs you'd see at the rally, okay? I was told there'd be cookies. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. And spiders. Hitler's against Hitler analogy. Government doesn't suck. Real patriots drink whiskey. Don't tread on anyone. That's no moon. Hyperbole or instant death. Slogans are crap. I stand for good posture. This one's actually sensible. I'm a veteran, I'm an American, I'm a Muslim. Okay. Calm the fuck down, America. Fear is illogical. This font is big. I am moderately excited for this. You don't have to be nice, just don't be mean. You get it, right? This was peak Reddit. Well, no, this was just American society. Have you seen what the one song music video that recently had its anniversary looked like? Have you seen the actual like music video to Party LMFAO's Party Rock or whatever the? You know what society was like in 2010? It was a dark time, okay? It's just what people looked like back then. This could have been the march to restore sanity and or fear, you know? You don't know. Do you know? To be fair, they did apologize for party rocking. They shouldn't have. Okay.